appreciate all of you all attending. Now we're going to get into the podcast of what does it take to become an IBEW contractor. So just as an introduction, Vince, I think we met 2 years ago, first convention. And then last year, or no, it was this year, we swung over to meet your team out in the field tackling some residential solar projects, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We were about, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, you did the builder convention, same location. We went to RE Plus a couple times. We linked up at RE Plus. And it's been kind of quite a ride to see how far you've come as far as with Energize Us. I remember the first meet and greet. Actually, the first meet and greet was at, I think it was like at a lighting place, lighting warehouse, where we had the contractor. Yeah, that was the very first time, and we got to meet a lot of contractors. And I think I was the only union contractor in the bunch. So, but I knew a lot of guys that were actually in the union that just made the jump and became non-union contractors. So.
Oh, wow. So just so you guys understand, this is 2 years in the making, and now we're getting to understand your story, what got you into the trade, but also the path that you chose. And hopefully at the end of it, each one of the listeners today, they can take one nugget on what type of pathway, what type of career opportunity is there. Because we go online, Troy and I, and we had this discussion before. You type in union versus non-union, everything blows up, and you're going to hear every comment under the sun. True or not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions about the union. I know there's a lot of people that want to get into the union, but at the same time, non-union always bashes union, union bashes non-union. So it's kind of like, it really doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter as a contractor. At the end of the day,
versus yang.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm here to make money as a contractor.
On what type
there's
of
benefits of being non-union. There's benefits about being union. I mean, union people wouldn't want to like hear that, but it's the truth. It just really depends on market share, where you're at, what location. We have a lot of prevailing wage work here, a lot of DIR work. I do a lot of that, certified payroll. So it's one of those things where, where's the money at, you know? And there is a lot of money in being a union contractor. A lot of people are scared to become a union contractor because they think it's a lot of money to start. But to be honest with you, it's the same thing as a non-union contractor. Same schooling, same CSLB card. The only thing you do is you hire people from a certain hall and they get paid a certain wage. But at the same time, because you're getting paid that wage, you're also charging the customer premium prices for your services.
I like that. And I think before anybody comes into, should I be a union contractor, I want to hear your story. What got you into the trade? Because I feel like you touched on it. Everyone has the same roadmap of coming into the trade, but we want to hear your story.
I mean, my story's pretty funny. I mean, I was a pretty good college, I was in college. I wanted to be a firefighter paramedic. I didn't really start off wanting to be an electrician. But I realized that it was just very difficult to get into that here in California. And I met, my uncle works for a big company called CSI. He's one of the vice presidents now at CSI. But before, he was just an estimator. And I had just recently gotten married. I was 21 years old. And I just really wanted to have like a future. So I realized, honestly, the first thing everybody looks at is the pay scale. You know, coming in with no experience, I didn't know how to swing a hammer. So, I mean, that's how I had no experience whatsoever in the trade. So the IBEW gave me that opportunity as a first-year apprentice. It was just dig a trench. It was drop that PVC in the ground, put this glue here, get this 2x4 with the sledgehammer, and go. And, I mean, the IBEW opened up so many doors for me because I got to be in really, really cool job sites. Like, I was what you would call an industrial electrician. So I was mostly doing power plants, refineries, water treatment plants. So I got to like really enjoy using a triple nickel, which is the Chicago Bender Greenlee. So a lot of 2-inch pipe, 1.5 inch rigid. And then I learned how to you learn how to use a threader, bending OCal, things that you really don't use in commercial, only things you see in big job sites like that. But 710s, 712s, 612s. So as a young kid, I was making really good money, but I was also working. I didn't have a life, but it's okay. I didn't need a life. I just needed money. You know, so the first 5 years, they put you through an apprenticeship. The apprenticeship is completely free. You learn as you go. You get paid really well. And as you finish school every 6 months, you get a raise. So I'm a little biased because I went that route, and I was lucky. I was very lucky and fortunate to be able to have that experience with the union, pretty much. So that's kind of like the apprenticeship story.
So let's say if someone in the audience is listening or someone online is watching right now, what are the different roadmaps someone can do to apply for the union? How does someone even start that journey?
The union gets so many applicants. Like I think they opened it up. You used to actually have to go to the union hall, which in local 11, which is Greater Los Angeles, is in Commerce. And we would line up, like, literally. I remember back in 2013, I had to wake up at 3 in the morning, and I was like 8th in line. And they weren't opening up applications till 8. There was people that were actually camping outside the union hall the day before.
Like Black Friday.
Like Black Friday. And so, obviously now we're in 2026, now everything's online. Yeah. But the thing is, like, it closes as soon as a certain amount of people get in. So I think they opened up applications about 2 months ago. I think we got 3,000 applicants in about 5 minutes. So that's how many people want to join the electrical apprenticeship. Only thing is that now they changed it where before you could get in with no experience. I had no experience. I was associate's degree in college, wanted to be a firefighter, totally different avenue. But now I think you need to have about a year of experience in anything trade. So it could be automotive, it could be you work for your dad's shop.
So like mechanically inclined.
They need them, yes. And the reason why is because we were having a lot of people come in and drop out. So they don't want you to take the spot of somebody that's actually going to go through the apprenticeship. They don't want you to waste their time, their resources. But that's kind of like the way it is. You just apply, you go online, you apply, and it really helps if you try to get into a lower classification. So I did that. I became a CW, which we have different classifications in the IBEW. We have construction wireman, then we have residential wireman, we have sound wireman, and then we have inside wireman, traffic, and fire alarm. So we have like 6 different classifications. But you could get in as a CW as long as you know any contractor that wants you to work. So a lot of my guys, I meet them and they say, Vince, I want to join Volt, for example. And so they come with me as a CW, and then they work a certain amount of hours. So guess what? When you take that interview, guess who do you got recommendation of? IBEW contractor, and most of my guys get in within a year. Because they're going to call me. They're going to say, how is this guy? Oh, he's great. He drives my truck, and he's responsible, and he comes to work. And then, you get a pay bump of, I think right now, you start at 27 without knowing anything. So, and then just a lot of people, when you're young, you see the check, but wait till you see the benefits on the back end. It's a great opportunity.
And I like how you touched on a few things, especially on the mechanically inclined side. Let's say somebody, because we have like that expression right now where like Gen Z is lazy, they don't want to work. At the end of the day, you have to put in effort, So you as a contractor, you going through the apprenticeship yourself, what are some skills that every apprentice should have or start working on before they apply?
Well, I'm Mexican-American, so I grew up kind of my dad telling me what to do. You just be quiet, take orders, do what you're told, right? So I already had that mentality growing up as that type of worker. So I think when you're starting out in the trade, obviously ask questions, because I don't get mad when people ask me questions, because we do understand that you guys are young. You're starting your career. You don't know everything. You're not supposed to know everything. That's why you get paid what you get paid. But the biggest thing you can take, and the thing that I see the most, attitude. If you have a good attitude, man, it goes a long way. Because you could break something, you could mess up a meter, and if you could just own up to it, tell me what you did, we can fix it right away. But if you have a bad attitude, well, you start saying, well, it was this guy's fault. He didn't listen to me. I told him, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm going to fix it as a contractor. But the guys that are out there that I can trust and that have good attitudes are the ones that always excel. Attitude.
I like that, because once again, everyone's in that mindset.
If you have a good attitude, man.
Right? Learn how to swing a hammer. Do it faster, right? They're always focused on the physical work. And what we're starting to see is a lot of the value as an apprentice, even as a contractor, customers, they don't care for the work. They want to know, are you going to communicate with us? If you're not showing up, if you're going to be late, are you going to let me know, right? So a lot of these skills that you guys are learning right now are valuable. but there's so much more that trade is requiring from electricians and apprentices coming in that you have no idea about. And then that's the things that we want you guys to focus on. So let's say you're learning about the electrical trade. You're going through the apprenticeship. Now you're learning, oh, wow, I got to communicate. I got to do this. What was your roadmap? Were you good at that, or is that something you had to learn with time? You see where I'm coming from?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got the hard work within the first 3-4 years. Like, it's hard work. I helped build LAFC Stadium, right? The one, right, that used to be the old sports arena. Now it's, home of the LAFC, right? And my fourth year, that's when I really knew I wanted to be a contractor. Because we were doing deck work, and deck work sucks, And I was doing deck work, and we were putting in, long hours on that deck in the summer in downtown LA, and I was getting scorched. And I was walking on rebar, working with the rod busters, getting the Smurf tube down there, and that's when I said, I really need to step up my education, because I know, and I was, I think at that time, 27, I was like, I know I don't want to be doing this for the next 30 years, because it is going to take a toll on your body, and so that's why Serge is here. If you learn to level up your career, you don't have to stay as an inside wireman. You can become a contractor. You could be. I was always thinking I was going to be an instrumentation tech because I was at refineries a lot. I wanted to just walk around with a notepad and one of those nice little Klein screwdrivers and just test things and get paid $100 an hour and work 7/12s and sit in my little lawn chair. So that's what I wanted to do. But that takes a lot of schooling. I think out of the 12,000 members that we only have 100 that are instrumentation tech 2 level guys. And those guys make 200 plus a year and with benefits, and they do not kill themselves whatsoever. You'll see them at the Metrolink, you'll see them at LAX. There's so much instrumentation out there. But even if you don't like that, you can be a high voltage cable splicer and be in volts, and all you're doing is, basically you're a certified tape guy, You're cutting these things and you're taping them, and it's like an art, and you go to school for that. Or you want to be a welder, you could be a welder. So there's a lot of specialty classifications you can be once you get that journeyman ticket. That journeyman ticket in your back pocket, you can work in any local in the nation. So if you would go to Hawaii and you want to just go work in Hawaii, you could. You could just sign their books, and if there's work there, within a week, you'll get the call, and now you're working in Hawaii. If you want to go to Nashville, you go to Nashville, and if there's need for that, and then they're now on Instagram. Before we didn't have this Instagram, but it's called like IBEW. They call them tramps, but it's like IBEW tramps, and it tells you, hey, we need 75 electricians in Idaho, wages $60, something on the check, 150 per diem, and the guys will just, if you don't have a family, if you're young, you travel up to Idaho, you take the call, you're working at a power plant in Idaho, and these guys just travel the world, making their money. They work 6 months a year, and then they come back and just enjoy 6 months off. So that's the beauty of the IBEW.
I love that, especially for that flexibility, especially for that unison, that continuity. And I liked how you touched on speaking on continuity, when it goes to instrumentation. I just started recognizing that too. And to get into that, your journeyman license, you got to go through these specialty trainings. But there's so many different niche topics, niche industry things. Like I met a contractor out in California, in Orlando, Florida, and he gets paid by hospitals just to do instrumentation reading on their panels once a month. And he hooks it up and leaves the fluke meter overnight or for 30 days. It's ridiculous what's available out there. And that's funny how not a lot of people know that this is the training that you're going to get if you decide to go, IBEW union. On the outside, you do have to pay for those specialty classes. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, when did the opportunity of becoming a union contractor begin? When did that start? When and how was that roadmap for you? Let's say if someone's now in that position to start making those choices, what would you say?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I'm 35. I started my shop at 30. I have 5 years in. The first 3 years were brutal. The first year and a half, 2 years were brutal. I scrapping by. I had to get like a 2007 Ford Ranger, throw a rack on it. And all I was doing, I was working 16-hour days. I was picking up stuff, picking material up, going to the job site. And I had nobody. It was just me doing rewires or bathroom remodels. I was doing anything I could get my hands on, right? Just to bring the cash flow in, right? So when I made that decision, my daughter had just been born, And I said, you know what? I got my CSLB license. Now what? Right? So I just started taking GC jobs. So you'll meet a GC here on a job site, and you tell them, hey, I'm cheap. It's just me. No overhead, but you have to work your butt off. Like, you have to make sure that you do what you say all the time. Because even if you screw up. I remember I would get yelled at for not cleaning up, because we're infamous for not cleaning up, right? So I would get reamed for not cleaning up my, your mess when you strip wires. Or, not make up a box and just leave all the wires hanging out, thinking, I'll get to it when I do trim. No, they wanted me to wire it up, even though I knew what was going on, but it was just, I realized those things oh, that matters, right? So you start picking up on little things that actually matter to the general contractors, and you got to keep the GCs happy, because guess what? He's going to take you to the next job. He's going to take you to the next job. So you want to make sure that you keep those contacts happy. And then as you grow, you'll realize contacts are everything. Like right now, I know so many people in the IBEW. I know so many people that I reach out to. I go to, a lot of events now that I get invited to, and I really love it because now it's all marketing, right? But I mean, when I started, I wasn't thinking this far down the line. I was thinking I need to eat this week and I need to pay my bills this week. At that point, rent. And rent's expensive here in California. So as you grow, what you start doing is save your money, because once you get a big fat check, you think, oh, I just made 10 grand in 2 weeks. This is awesome. But guess what? You ain't gonna have those 10 grand in the third week or fourth week of the month because no one's calling you. So stash it and don't get in debt. Like, I never got in debt. I get in debt now because I have to get in debt. But you know what I mean? Like, there's no way to grow without getting in debt now. But debt is not a bad thing. You'll learn that later. But when you're starting, buy that Ranger, buy that Astrovan. Don't buy a brand new F-150 Lightning, because guess what? You're gonna mess it up anyway, because all you're doing is ladders. You're tired at the end. You want a beater. But I'll wait for him to ask another question, but that's when I started out. You just keep your overhead really, really low. If you have a wife, girlfriend, aunt, sister that can help you do the books and you can kind of pay her on the side, I did all that. I was working out of my garage. Everyone always talks about that in the union. Oh, Morro Meadows, CSI, Cupertino, all these big shops 40 years ago started out of a garage. Right? And you think, oh, that's dumb. You see them now, and you see hundreds of trucks, and you see a lot of, you see what they are now, and you say, there's no way. But now I see myself, and I'm still a small business, but I have about 7 or 8 trucks, and I have about 18 employees, and I see it wow, I really did start out of a garage. So
I like that because it puts it into perspective for a lot of us, as in what's possible, what it takes to get to that next level, what it takes to get to that next step. And a lot of people don't realize that. So let's say somebody just finished their 4 or 5 years, they got their C10. How should the process go? What's next? How do I even go about? We just found out how to become a union applicant. How does it go when it becomes a union contractor?
Okay, so the union is really big. They have organizers, they have business development agents, they have so many people that are looking out for you to get you work. So once you become a C10 licensed contractor, I'm not sure if you went the non-union route or the union route. If you go the union route, you technically have to become a union contractor because they just gave you 5 years of free school. So you owe them 5 years of work. So whether you want to do that work as a journeyman or you want to do that as a contractor, doesn't matter. I already gave back my 5 years. So I pretty much paid my education. I mean, and that's totally fair. You go 5 years of school, you're working for 5 years, you got free books, you got our ETI is one of the Electrical Training Institute. If you guys ever want to go tour it, you can. It's one of the best in the world, bar none. It's a net zero facility. That thing is awesome. They have, just like you see the conduit bending, just like you see panel makeup, think of this times 20. They have labs for everything. They have a lab half this size, which is just traffic control. And they have the actual lights you see when you stop and everything. And they'll tell you how to wire it and everything. So I went off on a tangent there. But what you do is you talk to the head business development agent, which is Ben, or Mario, that I know, and you tell them, you say, hey, I just got my C10. I want to be a IBEW contractor. And they're going to get your paperwork. They're going to show you that you got to pay a certain amount of dues. if you're a corporation, you have to pay into your pension, which is all going to benefit you anyway, because it's your, like I pay for all my guys' pension, health care, so why wouldn't I pay mine? Because I have a family and I want a pension and I want to retire in 30 years, right? And so that's basically, it's very simple. You just say, I want to be an IBEW union contractor. If you're a small shop, don't be afraid. You could be a one-man shop. There's work for one-man, two-man, three-man shops. People think, oh, union contractor, I need to be a big business. That is so not true. Like, I started as a one-man shop, and I did contract work, and I haven't stopped for 5 years. And I just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so now I can get bigger jobs. But people always think that misconception. Union contractor, big shop. We have a lot of small union contractors that we need right now. There's so much market share for like things that bigger contractors don't even compete with you. You know why? Because that stuff is not even, they're not making any money because their overhead's too high. So like for you, it's like, would you like $1 million? Sure. Would they like $1 million? No, because they're $10 million a week in payroll. So what you, and, I mean, for us, $1 million, I'm cool with $1 million, right? So think about that. And when you come in, you're making a couple $100,000 a year. Man, you're like top 10% here in California if you make $200K a year, right? Now you have benefits. Now you have employees. Now you have a work truck. So be a union contractor. Reach out. The worst you could, if you don't like it, you could just say, no, I'll just be a non-union contractor. And it's not like you can do non-union work and then you don't have to do it right away. You want to establish yourself, get some contracts, and then come, you could do that too. But I'm telling you, if you come in right away, guess what? Those head business development agents, they're going to be saying, oh, I know New Volt Construction or New Volt Electric. I know he's a two-man shop. Hey, this job just came out for a park job for some lighting controls. And guess what? You're going to get an email. Bing! It's going to go straight to your, no bid, no nothing. You're going to get it. You're going to send the bid. It might be 30 grand. And you're going to get that in a week or two, running some low voltage controls. And boom, you just got your first contract. But guess what? Now you know that GC. So guess what? That $30,000 bid just turned into a $300,000 bid because now that GC, oh, New Voltage Electric did a great job on this park. Now we have a small commercial building. Guess what? They're not gonna send it out to bid. They're just gonna call New Voltage Electric. And that's exactly how I am where I am. Just doing good work and starting that way.
I like that. And let's say you're a contractor, and I know you touched on it. You're like, oh, those first 3 years, everyone gets beat up. I feel like everyone leaves with PTSD. And we talked about how the ETI, the training that IBEW gives to its apprentices, is there any help for contractors when you now become an IBEW? I know there's a lot of courses, but I want to.
Yeah, so when you become an IBEW contractor, we have this thing every year where we have a contracting class where we bring in other contractors, and I talk on that panel as well. And I basically help, get leads because I know of other things that are going on right now that I can't do because my overhead is now too high. So now I can pass it down to the next contractor. And so we do that every year at the IBEW Pasadena. It's been happening for like 10 years now. And you'll get to meet a lot of people that fly in from all over the place, kind of like the Builders Convention. But they're all like hardcore contractors that will talk to you and say, hey, look, you should look into this. You should look into that. And guess what? We bring CPAs. We bring in bookkeepers. We bring in all these people that are going to show you how to start your business, how to start your LLC, how to start your S Corp. So they do help you a lot. But again, just if you could take something away, when you become a contractor, get comfortable with public speaking and get comfortable with shaking a lot of hands and talking to a lot of people because that's the only way you'll grow your business.
Yeah. And just like you guys already know, a lot of that stuff happens after work, right? So if you're just focusing on work, overtime, you're not going to have time to take advantage of these opportunities that are out there. Remember, like what Cameron said, the skill will get you in the door. You understand? It'll get you a great opportunity. But what you do afterwards and how you now go to these networking things, now you start asking questions. You spend that 1 hour at a happy hour just to understand, hey, what do I have to do next? That stuff is priceless. I want to ask, just like in a retrospective, there's no right or wrong answer, but in the grand scheme of when you started to where you are now, how much have you grown when it came to just understanding the trade all around? What's that experience like? What's something that they can experience, or what are they walking into?
Yeah, so everyone always wants to keep all the money when you start, right? You think, I have all this money. Remember, I talked about overhead being low, but at a certain point when you have a lot of work or when you start realizing, oh, I can't keep up with this work, get out of it. Get out as soon as you can. Thankfully, I had good mentors that told me, don't work for your business when you get to a certain point. You know what I mean? Because now I wear a polo. I was working all day today from here, while I was eating lunch today, and I have staff at the office. I have I have 3 foremen in the field. I have residential foremen. So I don't really have to worry about the day-to-day operations. My goal now is to bring in new business and to make sure this machine keeps moving. So you'll get to that at a certain point. A lot of people see, I got to that point in 3 years. Because as soon as I got to that point, guess what? I had $150,000 in my bank account, and instead of, most people say, I'm good with it, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. I got those $150,000 and I bought 3 brand new ProMasters. And then I was like, I'm back to zero again, so guess what? I'm hungry again, right? So if you gotta stay hungry, because if a lot of people just stay where they're at because they're afraid to grow, they're afraid to spend money, they're afraid to see their bank account hit zero. I have nothing to be afraid about. I grew up poor. I'm gonna die with nothing. We're all gonna die with nothing, right? So it's one of those
almost
things.
Like Bane, where he's I was born in the darkness.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really, you get to a point where you're just not, you stop being scared. You gotta stop being scared, because a lot of people say, I'm gonna keep that money, it's my nest egg. I mean, I went a little crazy because I knew I had something coming up, but I would stay with some money, but I just said, I went for it, because I kind of knew where I was going and in my direction, but I learned really, really early on, and if I could talk to myself 5 years from now, is like, I wish I would have left year 2, because I had an opportunity year 2, but I was scared. So until I started meeting people where I'm just like, what am I scared about? The work is there. There is work out there. There is so much work out there. People always think of high rises in downtown LA. You could do program work. I get paid a lot of money just to change out light bulbs. Light bulbs, guys. Ballast and light bulbs. Been doing it for a very long time. And it's program work, city work, prevailing wage work. It's all work that's coming to me and to other smaller businesses that are smaller than me. So there's a ton of work, but if you're working in your business, you're not working to grow your business. So you have to get out of that mentality real quick. And it's hard, it really is, but that's the one thing that you guys should do as soon as possible.
So earlier on, you started off by saying, what should apprentices focus on when they first come in? And you said, focus on your attitude. Let's say you're a contractor now. What should your focus be on? Is it the same, or yes, but, or and? I
mean, your attitude's gonna take you a long way, right? Because now you've gone from, I know what I'm doing, to doing the actual work. Now everything's on you, because when you're an apprentice, you have a journeyman looking after you, or you have a guy that knows what he's doing looking after you. When you go on your own, you're a journeyman. Now you get an apprentice, right? So it's like, it flips. So now you have to take care of this new, we call them cubs, the new cubs coming in, and we make sure that they don't hurt themselves, and we make sure that we're teaching the next generation, pretty much. That's kind of the way the IBEW flows. You become an apprentice, and you become a journeyman. You become a journeyman, now you get an apprentice. And then now you realize, oh man, teaching and learning are 2 different things. Because now you realize, oh, I was pretty dumb, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't listening to my journeyman, but now you're the journeyman, and you're like, oh no, damn, I'm too tough on this guy, or maybe I didn't teach him. Everyone learns differently, right? So now you're a contractor. So now you're like, okay, now you have guys that you have to take care of that know what they're doing, and boss them around, tell them what to do, and make sure that they're not putting the younger guys in harm's way, because guess what? You got workers' comp now. You got general liability. You got workers driving your vans. You're hungover, they crash your van, or worse, they get shocked because now you have NFP 70E, right? You didn't give them the proper PPE. So when you become a contractor, now it's like you have all these things to worry about. So you have to make, that attitude, yeah, you still have to have a good attitude, but you have to be responsible now. Responsibility is key. You can't just say, oh, I'm making money, I'm gonna kick it and just watch football, on Thursday night and go get drunk. You can't. I mean, it's funny because you think you're buying your freedom, you are buying your freedom, but you're also buying more headaches, because with freedom comes a lot of responsibility. So I would say attitude, now responsibility is key, because you are responsible for everything that happens in your company. Doesn't matter if it was done by a guy that was supposed to know what he was doing or a guy that wasn't supposed to be in that situation, but you have to be able to trust your guys. But ultimately, responsibility falls on the head, the CEO. So responsibility when you get to a contractor level.
I like that. So we have one question from the audience.
Yeah, I have a question. It's about the apprenticeship with IB. So as a student, when we finish and we want to get our apprenticeship with you guys, would we still have to take the courses you're going to provide for us?
I'm not really understanding the question. You said, so you're already so you're trying to get into the apprenticeship?
I'm trying to get my license. I go to UBI.
Okay, so you have an electrical training card, pretty much right now. So you need to get into an apprenticeship. So right now, your main focus needs to be getting into any apprenticeship that's going to get you your journeyman ticket or your DIR state license, a ticket that I carry in my back pocket, and you take the code exam and you become a journeyman. So that's your next step. If you're in UEI right now, all you guys got is an ET card. You know, you guys are just electrical trainees. So you can't really move much until you get that apprenticeship training. I mean, you don't have to do the apprenticeship. You can do 4,000 hours and take the test and become a journeyman. A lot of people don't know that, right? Because that's what the ET card is for. The ET card is just to let you work for a contractor in the state of California. That's all an ET card is. But if you do, I think 4,000, I don't remember the hours, but whatever the 4 years or whatever, say you come to me with an ET card. I mean, I couldn't hire you because you'd be non-union, but if I was a non-union contractor, you go to a non-union shop, you do your 4,000 hours, they vouch for you after 4,000 hours, and now you can take your state exam, and now you become a journeyman. And now you can basically work anywhere because now you have your state certified journeyman license. So there's a lot of ways to get to your state cert, but obviously I'm biased. I want you to go in through the IBEW. Why? Because you're going to get paid as you go and learn as you go, because where are you going to get the book learning? You're going to be at 4,000 hours, but you're not going to get the fire alarm. You're not going to get the transformer classes. You're not going to get the, advanced conduit bending classes, the motor control classes. So, you want to be a well-rounded electrician, because when you become an electrician, everything falls on you. And that's what the contractor expects. And guess what? If you're not going to provide that to us, you're not going to last very long on my job site.
That answer everything? Perfect. So, Vince, final question. What has the electrical trade given you? Let me say that one more time. I messed up that B-roll clip, right? Dang. What has the electrical trade given you?
I mean, honestly, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life, because I have a little girl that's 5, a little boy that's 3. I get to come home whenever I want. If they have t-ball, if they have softball, if they have swimming classes, I'm there. And that is priceless, because as you get older, you realize the only thing that you can't buy back is time. So the electrical career and field has given me back my time, and it's given me a good amount of money too. So I can't say enough about the money. Everyone thinks money, 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 money. But when you become a dad, when you become, a husband, you want to be there for your family. So now I'm able to provide for my family and be there for them and provide for them financially, emotionally, anything they need. So I mean, honestly, I owe everything to the IBEW. That's why I'm here, not representing them, but just representing my story, because I want everybody to be able to enjoy that. But at the same time, I'm 35. I joined the union when I was 21, right? So I did 9 years till I hit 30, and then I did 5 years as a contractor. So it's not like it happened overnight. It didn't go from, oh, I'm making $500,000 now, and I own 10 trucks, and I have 20 employees. I'm like, that's been since 2011 when I signed that application, where you guys are at now. So it's like, and there's a lot of success stories like me. It's not just me. And you don't have to own a business to make money. You could be a superintendent. You could be I heard there's a project manager up here, and that guy is probably making money, because guess what? If you can manage my projects and you can give me less headaches, I will pay you a lot of money to manage my portfolio or my jobs, because again, when you get to a certain point, you want peace. So superintendent, project manager, foreman, general foreman, my foreman makes $75 an hour on the check. And I don't even blink an eye. People say, that's a lot of money. They cost me $130 an hour, full package. So I'm paying a foreman $180,000 a year, and I have 3 of them, right? But I don't even bat an eye anymore, because guess what? They're out there handling my jobs, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're making me money. Same thing with my project manager. He makes his money by making me money, right? So back to the original question, I owe everything to the trade. The trade, I would not be here. And you remember I wanted to be a firefighter paramedic? I make more money than freaking the chief. You know, without the overtime, obviously, right? Because they work a lot of overtime. But without the overtime. But you know what I'm saying?
Did
Like,
you guys see that? First of all, the fire chief here in LA, right, is like 1.2 million per year.
with the overtime. But without the overtime, it would have been half, right? But what I'm saying is like, and I'm up here speaking, relaxing, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things like, I never thought I'd be here because I didn't want to be an electrician when I was like coming out of, you know, it was just, I took that opportunity and now I'm realizing, man, like, it's awesome. Like, take advantage. Your education is the most important thing because in the beginning, like Serge said, or no, it wasn't Serge, it was Tennessee electrician. He said, right, the trade or knowing things will get you in the door, right? So knowing conduit bending, when I see you do a conduit bend for me or a conduit run and you're new to me, I say, wow, that's a great bend. Oh, this guy, I'm gonna keep him. But if that's all you know, I'm like, okay, well now I need you guys to do something else, and you guys can't do it. So being a well-rounded electrician will get you in the door. But then I realized, oh, this guy could run a crew. Oh, this guy can do this. This guy can do that. And guess what? You'll never be out of work with me anyway, unless I run out of it. But again, that's why my job is to get work. But going back to the original question, I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. Money, time, just enjoying life now, going on vacations, being at Dodger games, you know? So it's one of those things where, I mean, it's really up to you guys. It's in your hands. And at the same time, it's like, don't take no for an answer. Because a lot of doors are going to get slammed in your face. A lot of contractors are going to say no. IBEW is going to say no. Guess what? It only takes one yes to get you in that door. And then, again, attitude, when you get to a certain point, responsibility. And after that, the sky's the limit, really, if you work hard.
Vince, it's always a pleasure to see you, brother. How can someone get more information or find out what you're doing?
The IBEW has a website, laett.com. You know, just jump on that website. All the stuff is there on Local 11. Again, if you don't get into Local 11, if some of you guys are from Orange County, there's Local 441. If you're from San Bernardino, I forget the local, but it's up there. If you're in Hollywood, in this area, Local 40. All they do is work at the studios. So, you know, all that information will be there. Reach out, and again, I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you, Vince.